So this is probably going to be like no other video on YouTube talking about the FX3, and I think that's a good thing. What is going on, guys? My name is Russell Scott. In today's video, I'm going to give you a non-filmmaker's take on a film cinema camera, the FX3. So here she is in all of her cinema top handle matte box glory. And I'm going to break this down and tell you guys basically what I would have liked to have heard before I bought my camera, because I am no shape, way, or form what I would consider a filmmaker. And I think this camera appeals to more than just that genre of people. So anyways, I've owned the FX3 for about 3 months. I bought it in the middle of summer. I've actually really enjoyed the experience with it. And like I said, I'm not a filmmaker. My day-to-day use of this camera is making social media content for my family business. The garage vlog. You guys have seen on the internet anywhere, the mini trikes that have been taking over, that's us. So I shoot Instagram Reels with this thing, TikToks with this thing, and then YouTube videos also. And we've had multiple videos on TikTok get over millions of views on Instagram. We've had a couple videos take off on YouTube. That's my day-to-day use of this thing, basically documenting what goes on in the shop, at the business, and then making specific Reels and TikToks to be able to grow the following and sell more of our product. And just as a little bit of a background, I've had the Sony a7 III that I'm filming on right now for about 5 years now. I think it's been 5 years, and it's been a great camera, but it definitely has its shortcomings and a lot of reasons why I got this camera. So first thing right out of the box that I noticed when using this thing is the autofocus is insane. Just going from people's faces to other people's faces to objects to faces, back and forth and whatnot. It is bonkers, and if that was the only thing that I loved about this camera, I think it would make it worth the price tag, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But the autofocus on this thing is mind-blowing, and it's leaps and bounds ahead of the a7 III, which was a great camera. Doing the type of shooting that I do, the autofocus on this is hands down the best thing I've ever experienced in my life, and almost like to the point where you're like, is this even real? So another reason I got this camera was because of the dedicated filming layout and setup of the buttons. The top record button, the front facing record button, the buttons just all over the place, the very specific like ISO, white balance, stuff like that buttons that are just, I know that you can set up an a7 III or an a7 IV however you want and use those buttons to do specific things, but to actually have the writing on the camera makes a huge difference, because unless you're using your camera all the time, every single day, you might forget what button you set to do what, and it just takes the guesswork out of it. And it's something that I really have come to like with this camera, and something that I don't think I'd want to give up. So kind of going along with that, the next big reason I got this was because of the tally lights. Now, it blows my mind that even the a7S III doesn't have tally lights, which is a video-centric camera. And the a7 IV doesn't have tally lights. Any type of video camera that I've used in the past has at least some type of light on the front of it to let you know it's recording. It's just crazy to me that you have to step up to a cinema line camera to get just one tally light. Now, for example, I do a lot of stuff like with TikToks and Reels where I'll set this up on a tripod, and I cannot tell you the amount of times with my a7 III that I've set the camera up, got everything rolling, and then stepped the whole way around, got set up to do what I was going to do, and then thought to myself, is it recording? Is it not recording? Like, we've done podcasts before where you look at the cameras and it's like, is it recording? Is it not recording? With this thing, it has one here in the front, a really big one in the back. The record light itself lights up. So whenever you're filming with this thing, there's no question whether or not it's recording. And you can be in front of the camera and see that and have that peace of mind, which is really nice, and something else that I don't think I could go back from with my daily video camera. Now, another awesome point about this camera is the flip screen. And it's insane to me that Canon has been doing flip screens for how long, and it just took this generation of Sony a7 IVs, this FX3, the a7S III, to have a flip screen. I mean, in the world that we live in with content creation and people vlogging and doing that kind of stuff, it's insane to me that it took that long. But that's another thing that I really love about this camera. And if you guys are going to be upgrading from something, or if you're just looking to get in your first camera, if you're going to be doing YouTube or vlogging or any type of content, I don't even think it's worth buying an a7 III cheaper. Right now, I have a whole monitor set up on top of it with a cage, a quick release rail, and an HDMI cord, and it's just a huge pain in the butt, where you could just solve it with having a flip out screen, which is really nice. And another great point is you can flip it closed and protect the screen whenever you're like traveling with it. If you have it set up on your desk or whatever, it's just gonna be protected, and it's a really great feature. The hand grip on it, is great. It feels a lot better than the A7 III. I know I'm comparing a lot of stuff to my A7 III, and this is not a A7 III comparison video, but I'm just going off of if you guys are thinking about upgrading, or I know it's a appealing thing to get an A7 III a lot cheaper than one of these right now, or even an A7 IV. The hand grip on this thing is really nice. It's really deep. Feels really good. So the body has these 1/4-20 screws all over it, which are pretty much useless other than putting this top handle on. So if you want to run a handle off the side, there's only one right here, which you're not going to run a handle with just 1/4-20, and it's going to cover up your ports. So that doesn't work very well. Same thing on this side, there's only one, and then there's one on the bottom. So I guess it was a thoughtful touch by Sony, but it definitely isn't anything that I've used, and I could have definitely done without. So going to this top handle, it's not bad. It's pretty chintzy. It's pretty cheap feeling. It's just all plastic. And when I bought this camera, I asked the dude at the camera shop if he could take it out and show it to me. And I was under the impression, like, I don't know, I really didn't know much about these things. I thought it'd be really cool if this like whole component for your XLR mics slipped off like on its own hot shoe and had the connections. I thought that'd be pretty cool if you wanted to just put a regular microphone on here. The top handle is pretty much useless to me, and it's a pretty pricey upgrade that they don't even give you the opportunity to deny or accept. It's like you're getting it with it, and it's built into the price. Now I'm using my Rode Video Mic Go 2, I think it is what it is, that I custom rigged to fit in here. Now this holder up here is specifically made for a Sony XLR mic, and if you don't have one of those, you're kind of out of luck. I would have liked to seen this thing, like I said, I don't even know if that's possible, but I would have liked to see this whole unit be able to come off, or even have like maybe some 1/4-20s up here. You could put a cold shoe, you could put your mic on. I ended up just rigging this up with some tape and making it nice and snug, and it fits and it works well. But with the recent addition of the FX3, the APS-C sensor version of this camera, they give you the option to either buy the top handle or not. If I would have had that option, I definitely wouldn't have bought it, because I could have gotten the same type of effect with a probably $50 small rig handle. But it is nice, it did come with it, and I use it. So now, speaking of the FX30, that just came out a couple weeks ago. If you're thinking about those two cameras, I don't think I would have bought the FX30 if it was out when I bought this. And the main reason is the full frame sensor and just the picture you get with this thing is nuts. I own a good amount of Sony full frame glass, so it wouldn't really make sense for me to do that. But it is like, I think like half the price, like $1,700 without the top handle, $1,799, where I think this was $34.99, and I actually got this with a Sony student discount, which was nice. So I saved a couple $100. Looking back on it and seeing that come out, I don't think I would have bought that. Speaking of the picture quality of this thing, the picture quality that you get out of this in the early morning or the early afternoon, golden hour, dusk, it literally looks like you're watching a movie or you just shot a movie. I do a lot of shooting indoors, and when we are outside, it's usually during normal business hours, so you don't really get that effect. It's not that noticeable in harsh lighting or noonday lighting, whatever you want to call it. But when the light starts going down a little bit, this thing just shines so much, and it's just wild to see the picture quality of this, and it definitely seems like a cinema camera. I mean, like I said, it seems like you're watching a movie sometimes whenever I'm using this thing. I've tried to put ND filters on the lenses and get that same effect, and for whatever reason, it doesn't give me the same effect. It's almost like you're just increasing your shutter speed, just making it darker. The light in the golden hour really makes this thing shine. Oh, also, one more thing. The menu system is way better than the A7 III. It almost feels like you're using a Canon, if that means anything to you guys. Canons are super stupid simple, and the menu system that they put on this thing is awesome. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.